Star Citizen gets into a bit of a development rough spot recently. Echo of Soul already pushes out new in-game content. Trove officially launches with PvP features just around the corner, and H1Z1 gets a little crazy with its July roadmap. What's going on, guys? James Blonde here with MMOHuts.com with a really quick weekly recap for MMO news and announcements of the week ending July 13th, 2015. And this past week was a really slow week in the news, unfortunately, but regardless, we still have new stuff to talk about, like the awesome anime-style video you see playing here for Dungeon Fighter Online. This is the new story trailer for the female Slayer that launched earlier last week. Now that the info has been released, we know that the female Slayer dominates her enemies with Blade and Strength of Majin imbued in her arm, which is kind of like a demonic curse that's powerful enough to kill even herself. At level 15, she can advance to the Sword Master, the Demon Slayer, a Vagabond, or a Dark Templar. The Sword Master focuses on comboing and chain skills, and is the only class advancements for the female Slayer that gets masteries. The Demon Slayer is a medium to long range fighter that focuses on keeping enemies at a distance with a whipped sword, always awesome. The Vagabond is the burst damage class with crazy AoE damage skills, but can still handle tough single targets just fine with a stackable buff that makes her X-String insanely powerful. This one is probably the most powerful subclass for the female Slayer. And the Dark Templar subclass is going to be focusing on zoning, support, crowd control, and holding down groups of enemies. Luckily for anyone planning on playing the female Slayer, we've got a really awesome giveaway pack at MMOHuts.com. Check that out right here. This class has been highly anticipated for a while now, and it looks like they're going about introducing her in an awesome new way. Check out this trailer when you get the chance, and keep your eye out on the DFO official website. Apparently they're doing an 8 weeks of hot summer update event with a new update coming every Tuesday. And speaking of new character reveals and details, up next we have a trio of new videos showcasing Soldier 76, a hardened combat veteran in Overwatch. As another offense character, Soldier 76 uses his heavy pulse rifle to send fully automatic pulse rounds into his enemies while remaining particularly steady. I guess that's a sort of a passive he has. He kind of reminds me of a young, much less buff version of Cable from the Marvel comics. Anyway, he also comes packed with Helix rockets that spiral out of his pulse rifle in a shotgun-like fashion, but does AoE damage to enemies upon detonation. So, shotgun rocket launcher, anyone? One of his abilities is to sprint, which of course can allow him to evade a firefight or get him back into one. The choice on that is yours. He also has a support ability that plants a biotic emitter on the ground, and its energy projection restores health to him and any of his allies within its radius. And his ultimate ability lets him lock onto targets with his visor to direct the damage that way. And if an enemy leaves his line of sight, he can easily switch to another target and get his kills that way. Again, cool new character showcased in Overwatch this time around. Now, come on Blizzard, just let us play the game. Check out all 3 new videos for Soldier 76 at the site posted at MMOHuts.com to tease yourself even further. That's basically what happened to me. Next up, another new character makes their way to Rise of Incarnates just after its launch this past week. This time the Incarnate is the Japanese goddess of winter. To the best of my understanding, Utsutahime, who possesses a unique fighting style and piercingly cold combat moves. Looks like a K-pop star to me. That's powerful enough, but she's able to summon snow spirits to specialized melee attacks that'll probably have you wanting to build snowman in no time. Other than that, this new Incarnate introduces a post-disaster version of San Francisco as the latest map, although you'll have to hop in game if you want to check that out. These trailers are getting shorter and shorter. Also launching this past week was Trove. Tryon World's voxel MMO adventure game is building up popularity now that it's available on Steam for both PC and Mac, North America and Europe. Since the open beta, Trove players have created over 160 dungeons, 2,000 equipment styles, and more than 78,000 unique club worlds. Now launched, Trove will feature 9 playable classes. That includes the Boomeranger, Pirate Captain, and the new Tomb Raiser, just to name a few. But just like I mentioned in one of the past recaps, Tryon isn't slowing down development just because the game is launched. The next feature they plan on working on, or currently working on, is PvP. Apparently you'll be able to travel to a realm that offers free-for-all combat amongst players, but there will also be PvE content involved as well. As you fight and defeat players and NPCs, you collect blood shards, which make you grow in power, but also become a target for other players who want those shards. Once you become powerful enough with these shards, you can try and take on the mega boss at the center of the map called the Blood Dragon, but even then, you'll have to worry about other players trying to kill you. Seems like it's a really cool concept they've got going on here, but it's also a work in progress according to the developers, so hopefully we'll get to see an early access version of this in the near future. For now, pick up on more of the launch and beyond details from our latest write-up on Trove at MMOHuts.com. Another game rolling in new content just after launch is Echo of Soul, bringing in its first major content update already, which includes a 10-man raid and a replay feature. The first part of this new content update is the new 10-player raid against the Colossal Dryad, and from what one can tell in this video playing here, he is one pissed-off tree. Here, players deal with rapidly shifting AoE damage zones, constant threats from the Dryad's tangled network of roots, and of course, periodic surprise assaults from minions wielding the power of the Four Seasons. Isn't that a hotel? Anyway, smaller groups of players will want to check out the two new party dungeons, the Sanctuary and the Blazing Peak. And the replay feature that I mentioned from the get-go allows players to record their gameplay directly from the game client and edit the footage accordingly. You're even capable of freezing the action, rotate and zoom the camera, as well as change the playback speed of the scene. Could be cool to use to create some gameplay trailer-style videos, so definitely not a bad add-on feature. And with that, it looks like we have another death in the MMO family. Arc Games, also known as Perfect World Entertainment, has gone on record to announce the official closure date of RaiderZ, following spotty server issues after the closure of the game's developer, MAIET Games. RaiderZ had some really cool features, to be honest, but it seems like it wasn't really willing to stay alive even right after launching. I mean, when was the last time you heard about a content update for the game? New classes? New anything? So as a result, ultimately the game is set to close on August 7th. MAIET's other title, Guns 2, seems to show some promise of continuation under the new developer just called Guns 2 Team, which is possibly made up of old MAIET devs. Though the details are tenuous and only found through some brief comments made on the Steam page, at this point, we're not quite sure about the fate of Guns 2. Also in the news, Star Citizen, the epic space adventure game with over $80 million raised in crowdfunding, has started its July off to a bit of a rocky start. First came the announcement via a community letter from Chris Roberts that the first-person shooter module, known as Star Marine, would be delayed due to various technical issues. With no ETA and the development time for Star Marines, this has ended up with many people calling the delay indefinite, although the team is still working on the module. Second came the departure of two key team members. First, senior producer Travis Day, who left to work for Blizzard, and then executive producer Alex Mayberry, who joined the team just over a year ago. This is an obvious hit to morale for Star Citizen backers and supporters, but Cloud Imperium Games has now stepped forward with a series of posts addressing concerns of the community, one of which states that the Star Marine module delay is realistically a matter of weeks delay rather than months. Hopefully it all works out for them in the end. They've got a huge following to let down otherwise. I honestly don't think it'll be that hard for them to bounce back. Coming back on a positive note, Grinding Gear Games has had huge success with Path of Exile's epic New Awakening expansion. Just after launch this past Friday, July 10th, I spoke with the game's lead designer, Chris Wilson, and he reported a lot more new players joining PoE than the entire team expected. It's been a fantastic turnout already, and I can only imagine the new update appeals to all potential players, new and returning. First of all, with the death of Desync, more servers in North America and Europe, and Act 4 with tons of new content to enjoy throughout, and some crazy new challenge leagues, just to name a few. Since the game's released in October of 2013, it's exploded into a community of 11.2 million players worldwide, and with the Awakening expansion and no more Desync, we're going to see that number jump up huge. If you're still wanting to know what to expect, check out my latest overview video to learn all the details. Meanwhile, in H1Z1, this is the new trailer for the Vigilante Crate, but I figured I'd use it to demonstrate what us Americans would be doing in the zombie apocalypse, especially some of my distant relatives. Besides this craziness, the developers released the new July roadmap a few days ago, indicating that they're focusing on stability and core gameplay issues alongside adding in new things. Tomorrow, July 14th, they'll be adding in leaderboards for Battle Royale matches and a grenade update, giving you the ability to pull the pin and cook the grenade just before throwing it. And they're adding in a new recipe that can turn your AK-47 into a semi-auto rifle. On July 21st, they plan on adding professions, which you determine when creating a new character. You'll be able to select what your character did before the apocalypse, and this will give your character different stat bonuses and a couple of other unique traits. A new zombie type is being added in on the 21st as well. This one is called the Screamer. You'll have to find ways to kill them silently, otherwise they'll run away from you screaming, which draws in other zombies. Several other features are being added in on July 28th as well, such as the Marketplace tab, which lets you access your account inventory from the main menu, the Noisemaker Grenade, which you can probably figure out what that does on your own, the Meat Grenade, a wonderful creation that draws in walkers with a long enough fuse to make sure lots of them go boom. So cool stuff coming to H1Z1 this month. Still limited on long-term development news, unfortunately, like, when the game might come out of early access and be more public. But for now, the roadmap will have to do. Anyway, guys, that's about it for a relatively short week of MMO news and announcements, especially since you guys have asked me to sort of chill out on the MOBAs and tank games a little bit, which I hear you there. Anyway, like always, you can get more information about the news featured in the recap from the links in the description below, and there's plenty more news at MMOHuts.com. Feel free to discuss the news in the comments below, or head over to MMOHuts.com/forums. And until next time, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.